Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Monster Tamer News, the segment of this channel where we go over this week's happenings in the Monster Tamer genre. This week's got a lot of build updates as well as some new monsters, so take a seat, relax, and enjoy. First up in Monster Sanctuary news, the team over at Morai just announced a new update to the early access, which includes the addition of new music, new monsters, and the awaited NPC overhaul. The full update and patch notes are available on the Monster Sanctuary Steam page. The new monsters were originally part of the beta, but have recently become available to the public. For a refresher to those of you who haven't seen last week's episode, the monsters are as followed. Shockhoppers, which specialize in ice and lightning. They're described as being a previously extinct species only accessible through speaking to a new chiromancer in the game. This NPC can be found close to the Snowy Peaks teleporter crystal. Next up is Targoats, which are described as being sturdy hyper defenders of the mountains. They can be found in a hidden area close to the Snowy Peaks teleporter crystal, where you'll need a goblin miner or a salahammer to reach. The third monster is Dracozols, a ferocious dragon-type champion monster. It's described as having deadly wind and ice attacks. It's the first of many endgame optional champion monsters, which in turn means it's going to be a more difficult fight than other champions. Next up is the NPC overhaul, which we just talked about, and we also mentioned last week. It is now live and features more dynamic NPCs. There have also been a few tweaks to the music, including a new Snowy Peaks theme, a new Keeper Stronghold theme, and a new Keeper's Tower theme. There's also a new alternative battle theme available in the option. Let's take a quick listen to some of these, courtesy of my buddy Roxas here. Finally, we have a few patch notes, most of which are balancing updates, but the non-balancing ones are as follows. Displaying enemy dodge chance is now an option setting, which is disabled by default. There's a new unique equipment frozen tier. Protect shows buff icon on the protected monster for as long as the target redirect is active. And then the rest are balancing changes, which I'll leave a link to in the description for the sake of time. And for those of you who want to get into the nitty gritty, you guys can check that out. In Kindred Fates news, the bi-weekly newsletter revealed the long-awaited 3D model for Mechid. This particular animation, dubbed by the many as the Naruto run, when downloaded is referred to as Mechid Anim Run, likely indicating that this is a sprint animation, though, I mean, it's quite obvious. The newsletter also revealed that connectivity between separate computers is now functional and that story elements are coming along nicely. The progress board continues to have a bunch of kinfolk that are currently codenamed and hidden, though no new additions this week. The Kindred Talks 4 podcast will be featuring two senior SkyMill developers, John and Sheila, and will happen at June 26th at 2 p.m. EST. Cassette Beasts recently revealed two monsters that you might remember from the official trailer. The first one is called Cat 5 and is described as being a powerful lightning-type monster that has sharp claws and a towering stature. And the second is called Kirikuri, which is a plant-type monster described as being the evolution of what once was a training dummy. These designs are par for the course when it comes to Cassette Beasts, as the creatures themselves tend to be a fusion of organic and inorganic matter. Personally, not a fan of the Rule 34 cat over here, but the Kirikuri thing looks pretty cool. Monster Crowns released an open demo on Steam, which you can check out if you're not part of the beta, and for those of you who are partaking in the beta, we just updated 3 times to versions 1.411, then to 1.412, then to 1.414. These updates include the following. Infection dialogue no longer overlaps a text box. Experience gained now includes all monsters fought in Tamer battles. Rodra and Dew Cave Thug battle lowered in level. Condition where Tamer pack could cause soft lock is now fixed. New wild monsters added to Riverbed and Scarred province. Health bar drain speed increased. Chance of rain reduced. Appropriate message added for when foe swaps monsters. NPC girl that had some pixels cut off is fixed. Entering Milltown from the south first will no longer cause cutscene misalignment. NPCs now have difficulty levels. Higher intensity NPCs are deeper in the wilderness. They now have much larger parties and use healing items. Tamer's AI is still being worked on, but right now they are smart on when to heal and they always know type advantages. DU. Now pulled into Storklift NPC. NPC battles now give you some gold, more rewards to come in the future. Smoother / more responsive player movement. It'll be noticed on high FPS devices. Online battles now fixed and working again properly. Overall improvements to the button mapping process and clarity. Text box letter fidelity / color resolution reduced to be more authentic. Rodask and Tidon levels dropped from the tutorial when you receive Tidon to encourage damaging the Primagon before taming it to better learn the mechanics. Soft reset no longer causes soft lock. So mostly bug fixes with a few quality of life improvements. I think the most notable here is the AI and the different levels of trainers, as well as the new monsters in the Riverbed and Scarred province. Those, without fully spoiling them, are hybrid creatures. Over to Pokemon news, the expansion pass for Sword and Shield released earlier this week with some mixed opinions, some saying that the expansion is too short, has scaling issues and animation inconsistencies, whilst others are praising it for including features like Pokemon following you, the return of many old Pokemon, and a new area to explore. I haven't played it myself just yet, but once I do, I'll put together an honest review for those whom are sort of unsure about whether or not they want to take the $30 plunge. The expansion pass also brought us, like I said, old Pokemon, some new moves, etc. There have also been some Crown Tundra leaks, aka the second DLC expansion for Sword and Shield, and they include a picture of some returning Pokemon, then a few mission titles, them being the Terrible Titans Lurking Locked Away, likely referring to the new Regis. They Came from the Ultra Beyond, likely referring to Ultra Beasts, and the Sacred Bonds of Sovereign and Steed, which is probably referring to the Swords of Justice. There have also been 3 new dex entries leaked, being 896 and 897 being Hakuba and Kokuba, respectively, and then 898 will be Calyrex. The leaks state that the formerly mentioned 2 will actually have the ability to fuse with Calyrex in some way. Now, just keep in mind these are leaks and are not official Nintendo or Pokemon or Game Freak statements, so they're subject to change. Ploxmons is currently holding a contest on their Discord for a new card design. If you're in their Discord, you can choose either number 1 or number 2. I personally like the second one, as I seem it looks a little more sleek, but whichever one wins will become the new card design. The Thylacine Studios YouTube channel, aka the devs for Siralim Ultimate, uploaded 2 videos as part of their new podcast series talking about Siralim Ultimate until release. The first episode was more of a housekeeping / pilot for the series, basically explaining what I just mentioned, and that you can receive the transcripts of these podcasts via Kickstarter updates, which is good for someone like me who likes to sort of dissect everything and speculate and whatnot. And then the second one was about Netherstones. Netherstones will require their own video, as I'd like to speculate on as to what we could see from them and whatnot, but basically the podcast outlines how randomly generated artifacts tend to be useless, as there are so many combinations of them and they cause overcrowding in the inventory. So they're going to get rid of these randomly generated artifacts so you can craft them still with materials like everyone does, but those will be replaced with Netherstone. Netherstones are going to be quite rare and basically have a wide variety of effects, from boosting stats to completely changing a monster's ability. There's going to be ones that, while rare, are less rare per se, and then ones that are super rare that'll give better benefits. There's going to be a value attributed to the rarity of your Netherstone. There's also going to be an aging system where it seems you'll be able to stop some of them from aging, but others will decay over time. It's pretty interesting stuff, and I can't do it justice in this small segment. This week in Temtem, the weekly reset's going to focus on high SV and feature Ganki and Umishi and Saipark. Both will have a 100% spawn rate and a minimum SV value of 28, and a 12% chance to have an egg move. Both of these Temtems were actually repeats from previous Saipark configurations, but they were part of separate Luma weeks, so I guess this is technically different. It's going to cost you 2k for 20 Sai cards, but honestly, I'm probably going to pass on this one. The free Tem rewards are a single energetic Kiwi for 50 releases, which it's just an in-game healing item that you can't even use competitively. Then at 125 releases, you get 6 Bomb Pluses, which again, they're just in-game healing items for the story. I guess you could sell them. At 200 releases, however, you will get 2 Endurance DNA strands, which is pretty decent. And then at 425 releases, you'll get 2 Defense Telomere hacks, which is odd because in previous configurations, getting 2 or 3 telomeres was usually less than 400 releases. So this almost seems like somewhat of a nerf, especially given the first 2 rewards being lackluster at best. The configuration will last from June 22nd to June 28th. We're going to end it off with a small piece of Digimon news, and that being the return of the new anime after the COVID-19 hiatus. Starting June 28th, Digimon will be airing its new Adventures series as regularly scheduled. The anime so far only has 3 episodes out and is dramatically different from the original, so if that's what you're into, go check it out. It's pretty decent so far, so I don't really have complaints. Digimon Survive news has been kind of quiet lately. All we know is that the game's been sort of delayed, so when we get information on that, we'll gear more towards the games. But I thought this was worth mentioning. But anyways, guys, with all that being said, that's the gist of what's going on this week in monster taming news. I have plans for a Monster Tamer showcase this week, and I have a poll going on over in the discussion tab of my channel, so you can choose out of the list of which game you want me to do next. They're all going to be done, but this just gives a little bit of interaction to the whole thing. Whichever game gets added will subsequently be added to the news segment should there be news. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Come join our Discord for editing live streams and other fun stuff. And until next time, peace.